Welcome back to another episode of the Patient Method podcast. I'm your host, Adam Patient, and today, very special, we've got another guest on. Richu, she
Hey.
is another online coach and another vegan online coach as well. Very exciting, very exciting. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is veganism and preaching about that sort of thing, as we vegans tend to do. Isn't that right, Richu?
I'd like to say that was me in the beginning. And I think with time, I've had to learn to come away from the preachiness of it all. I don't know. It's interesting because I always feel like we can create the biggest impact just by showing and being the best versions of ourselves. And I kind of have come to the conclusion that actually positive reinforcement and positive growth and just showing and doing and being your wonderful selves. I feel like that's a much better way of winning non-vegans over,
Yeah.
as opposed to kind of you know being like, oh, how can we say it, like really really graphic and really really preachy. So that's my personal take on things. I did start very, very different. So
Really?
how about for you?
I don't know. I've always been. I don't know. Maybe at the start I was a bit. People are going to be listening to this if I know anyone and be like, "Yeah, he was. He was really preachy." But I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I've always tried to stay away from that because I used to get pissed off before being vegan at that sort of thing as well. Um, and I knew that the more people pushed, the more I'd just be like, no, no way, I'm not even going to listen to it. I had to do it myself because I'm stubborn. But and I just thought, that probably is the same for a lot of other people. Do you like, in terms of like your clients and things, do you try and make them go vegan, or is it the same as you just described? Like you wait until like they ask, what is the best sort of diet to eat? I'm doing quotation marks. If you're listening to the podcast,
Yeah.
you wait until they ask because you kind of inspired them in that sort of thing, or do you bring it out to them as like when they sign on, you're like, this is the diet that I recommend.
So that's very interesting. I am definitely a coach that kind of meets people where they are at and
Mm.
helps them go where they want to go in methods that suit them, and their own lifestyle and their choices and that sort of thing. But it does come up because when we're going through any of our sort of like group calls, our educational topics, etc., when I'm referring about things that I've experienced, obviously veganism comes up in that this is how I hit my protein as a vegan, or this is how I would do things as a vegan. But I would never sort of push and say this is the only way. I think I'm quite lucky in a sense that a lot of my clients are naturally have been drawn to me over the years, have been either vegan curious or a vegetarian. So they're quite open-minded about it. And yeah, actually one of our meetups that we're going to do, I've purposely picked because it just turns out that, I think we're dominating as vegans and veggies. So we're going to try and do one of our meetups in like a vegan veggie setting.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. Blah, 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 blah. Has any of them like transitioned since being with you, or are they all vegan or veggie before?
Yeah, they're all vegan veggie themselves before.
Nice.
But it's interesting because I've had one of the girls that kind of felt like she was veggie before, but had herself gone back to her ways before, her eating animals and having animal based products. But I think since joining the program, she's actually started to have more vegan and veggie alternatives, which is quite nice. But I believe we're all on our own journey.
Mm.
And I think it's nice to be able to inspire people. But again, like, as you've said as well, like pushing people, I don't think it does anything, but other than scare them off.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And if people are still listening, they're probably vegan or
Yeah.
curious about going vegan, right?
Or
So
maybe they just like you. and
Well,
me as people.
mm,
Adam, how long have you been a vegan for?
6 years now, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
6 years.
yeah.
It was pretty sudden. Like I know people like to transition like quite slowly and be like, okay, I'll cut out the meat and or I'll cut out the cheese and the dairy and then I'll
Mm.
keep eating meat and then I'll eat fish. And I was like, no, I just did it straight away because it was I watched classic. I watched What the Health
Yeah.
and Earthlings as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I watched those two in one day. And I was like, no, I can't do it anymore. But I had a holiday booked to Florida for like 2 weeks. So I was like,
Mm,
I can't, and it was like 6 years ago, so it wasn't when vegan was very like it
mm.
didn't have that many options. So I was like, I can't do that. So I just spent 2 weeks just eating, just eating meat like every day. And then on the last day, I had like my last bit of meat. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I just like couldn't think about it for the 2 weeks because I was like, this is
Yeah.
grossing me out. At the last one, then came back and then just went fully vegan. And
Wow.
yeah, I feel
Well
great, mate.
done. Six
Thank you.
years ago, what year was that? 2017?
Yeah, I was just going into second year of drama school. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. 2017.
Yeah.
2017. But it was great. Like, I don't know. People say that they feel a lot better straight away, and I didn't really. Like, I didn't feel like
Mm,
ultra strong or anything like that. Like, I'm not one of those like people say they watch Game Changers, that sports one, and they're like, oh no, it's a load of crap because they're just saying about how much stronger you become as soon as you become vegan. I didn't really feel that. I felt
mm,
a lot like sort of better that I wasn't just consuming dead things. And
mm,
then I thought, I don't feel any worse. So I was like, I could either eat meat and feel the same, or I could not eat meat, not be contributing to sort of killing and
mm.
still feel the same. So I was like, well, let's let's not contribute to that and still feel the same, you know? I'm not feeling any worse, so why not?
Yeah.
What about you? How long have you been vegan?
Well, over 10 years. I don't have a vegan versary because I'm one of those, Adam, that transitioned. And this is interesting. The first time I heard the word or read the word vegan, um, my mum used to like to. Do you remember Holland and Barrett?
Is yeah, it's still a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, of course. Do I remember? It's still around. So Holland and Barrett, my mum used to go there all the time. Like, I don't know, when we go shopping and stuff, she'd drag us in there and she'd pick up the free magazine that they have
Mm.
in there. And I remember I'd start reading the magazine and I was probably in my early teens. So I was in secondary school and I read this word vegan and I thought, oh, I could never do that. That's just so extreme.
Yeah.
Here I am years later. Um, and yeah, I guess for me, the whole transition thing, it happened very gradually. And again, it was definitely linked to the ethical side, but it sounds interesting or weird me saying this, but I'd actually gone veggie-ish, given it up, then started to get quite annoyed because during this period of my life, I was at university and I was ordering pizzas all the time just to
Mm.
stay alive and mentally focused in terms of studying. And all the pizzas I was getting was just full of cheese. And I really disliked the amount of dairy that was on them. And so I gave up the cheese thing, or I'd find that I'd always pick the cheese off the pizzas.
Oh,
Um,
oh, wow.
yeah, and then I was
Gross.
like, okay, right, I'm gonna do like the Rastas do, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna be like a pescatarian, and I won't have dairy, I won't have meat, and I'll just eat fish. And then I saw, uh, I was researching online. I don't know what I was looking at, but I stumbled across like a fishing page and like fishing conservation and stuff, and that was eye opening for me because I was just like, whoa, okay, this is like not really helping and like, in terms of like the environment and stuff. So
Mm.
that was really the last thing for me. And eggs was always a weird one as well, because I don't know how you feel about eggs, but eggs, I would say I kind of went off years ago. And it's because whenever you'd crack an egg open, you'd always see this like weird stringy thing. And
Yeah.
I'd always like think, it was always so difficult to take that out of the white, the egg white. It was almost like an umbilical cord.
Oh God.
No, I'm sorry. That sounds disgusting. Anyone listening to this, I'm so sorry. But with me and Adam are just like this episode is literally all about us being vegans, right? And I'm just saying it how it is, but that just kind of made me sick. And then yeah, it's interesting actually, because I years everyone thought I was mad. They thought, you know, when I was at uni, that I had someone actually come up to me and say, I'm really worried about you. You're doing this vegan thing. You do realize it might work for 2 years, but then your hair's going to fall out. You're going to get really skinny. You're going to lose loads of muscle. You're going to get
Wow.
sick. You're basically going to die.
And what did that person's diet look like at the time?
Well, I was on a sports science degree. So presumably, I think they were quite health conscious anyway, but
Maybe, but
probably.
then you were just eating pizzas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Like, when going vegan, it's like, of course, people are going to feel better because they're just looking more at what they eat. Because so
Yeah.
many people, especially at that age, like, are just eating just random crap just to
Mm,
get by. And then as soon as you
mm,
like change your diet, like I think it's the same with any diet, right? Like
yeah.
keto, vegan, whatever diet, it's all health based. It's like people do it because of like they believe that that diet is healthier. It's always for a
Mm,
health reason, unless obviously like you're going for the ethical reasons of being vegan or anything. But there is that health aspect to it as well. I just think any diet that you end up getting into is you're just going to be better and you're going to feel better because you're looking at what you eat more. You know, it's not
yeah.
like, oh, I'll just eat anything, I don't really care. It, like, you're actively looking at the ingredients, seeing if I can eat it and if it suits
Mm,
the diet that I'm on. So I think it does, like, people are so quick to demonize it and demonize things that they're not doing themselves, partly for a fact that I think they know that they should pay more attention to their diet. uh,
mm.
but then also part of the fact that like there's not much education. Well, there is now, but there wasn't too much education out there
Oh, there wasn't.
before, you
I
know?
was hard.
So it's like, oh God, no meat. What? You're gonna die.
Let me tell you, protein powders now, plant-based protein powders are amazing, right?
Mm,
You can get so many nice flavors and stuff. I remember, okay, so you know how you get a shaker bottle and you know how they always just smell disgusting afterwards. So I really didn't like that. So now I actually don't care if I am out somewhere and, you know, I've got a shaker cup with me and, you know, I always just rinse it out and I'll use it again. I've got no problem with that. That
yeah.
sounds disgusting, but I've got no problem with using it in the same day and giving it a good rinse and whatever. But back then I had specific shaker bottles that I would have throughout the day, and I would carry them all with me in my backpack, like when I was going to uni, because I did travel into London for uni. And it was really weird, but protein powders back then were just not nice. And I remember experimenting with some of the most foulest tasting. Have you ever had, I think it might have been hemp, like hemp protein, but it was like almost like eating sand
Oh
and
wow.
mixing that with apple juice. Have you ever
Oh
done that?
what? No.
It's because I read it on a forum somewhere and I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a go. And I would literally hold my nose and then just go glug. It was disgusting.
That is one of the worst things
Oh, it was
I've ever heard.
horrible. And there was so many like concoctions and ways of creating this special protein, but I didn't have a clue about macros, calories, nutrition, really like nutrition, essential nutrients, none of that
Mm.
back then. It just wasn't available. And I
Oh
would
yeah.
I would literally Google or like go into forums and have a look at sample vegan bodybuilding diets. And this is probably where I ended up putting on quite a lot of weight, actually, Adam. I would literally go and they'd have this like 3,000 calorie meal bodybuilding, get stacked, you know, and it would have all these like foods in. And it was clearly aimed at someone who was not my height,
Mm.
physique, body type, female, whatever. But it would just be like, oh, okay, I need to eat like that.
So you
So
just, yeah.
I did actually learn from that and end up getting absolutely, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I
So
did
it
get quite
went the
big
other way.
actually. Yeah. Oh, that was me eating healthy though. This was away from the pizzas, being
Right.
healthy.
Just eating like
Yeah.
loads.
Yeah. And I was actually really quite, quite into lifting back then as well. So I felt
Mm.
quite strong on that many
Wow.
calories.
A strong vegan. Who'd have thought that? And on the protein,
Were
where did
you on your fitness journey anyway back when you like
no,
prior to?
no way. No. I'd done like running, but I hadn't ever been to the gym or anything.
Mm.
I started when I was vegan.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, I did.
Mm.
Yeah.
So all your muscle, all your lean gains
All
are
my
vegan.
muscle.
They're,
Yeah,
they're pure vegan gains, whereas
they
me,
are.
mine I probably, yeah, mine are from like 20 years ago.
Some of them for cow's milk. Yeah, what about so you're talking about protein then. Obviously like
Yes.
a massive thing.
Yeah.
Question I get asked a lot, question loads of vegans get asked a lot is where do you get your protein? Where do you get your protein?
I get my protein from plant foods. And so if we want to be more specific about that, yeah, we can have tofu, tempeh, seitan,
Mm,
legumes as well. There's so many different endless ways of getting protein in. I mean, even at a very micro level as well. Um, it's not just all like I think we'd always think that it would be things like quinoa or something. Or actually, I used to believe that mushrooms were a form of protein, and
right.
clearly they weren't. I think there's probably like zero 0.9 of a gram per like serving, just something ridiculously low like that. But yeah, I think when you start thinking about the composition of your meals and stuff, I think it's actually so easy to get protein and to get enough protein.
Mm,
And it's interesting because you talked about earlier about people's you know diets and stuff, and if someone's on a health journey they'll be more inclined to think about things like protein and the composition of the meal. But if you're not, and maybe you're starting out, you might be someone that eats meat, right? And I've
mm.
seen this before where I've had women that I've coached previously, and they've said, we've looked at their MyFitnessPal and stuff like that, and they're getting like just shy of like 50 grams of protein a day, and they eat meat.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what's going on here? It's not just the label of this is your diet or the what you eat. There's so much more to it. You've got to really think, whatever your lifestyle or choices are, dietary choices, you do have to consider all things, right?
Yeah, it's being just aware and taking those active steps in whatever you're eating just to make sure you're
Yeah.
getting enough. And protein, like I'm kind of sick of the protein argument because so like there's always phases, isn't there, of like what's healthy and what's
Yeah.
not. Like it used to be low fat and everything low fat was healthy. Now it's everything high in protein that's healthy. Carbs will never be healthy because they're completely demonized by everyone now. And it's like you mustn't have carbs. So
Oh.
it's just this like this whole thing about protein is like the more protein you get the better, and that's not the case. Like we know
Mm.
that with carbs you store it. I think it's like it I think it's a marathon that you can run, and then after that your carbs will be depleted. Fat you can store just endless amounts, but protein there is a finite store of it, and if you go above that store, it's not going to like make you build any more muscle. That's just going to get converted into fats and proteins anyway, fats and carbs anyway. So this whole like high protein, more protein is better is just a bit of a, I think it's a marketing tactic, isn't it? Like, because you go to the shop and everything is labeled as high protein, whereas you don't need that much protein. No one goes, I can't remember who said this, but no one goes to the doctor with a protein deficiency. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly. I
it's
see what you mean.
it's not a thing. It's not a thing. But like
Yeah.
everyone's trying to sell you this, and then you look at the protein bar and the amount of sugar it's got in it, the amount of saturated fat it's got in it, all these proteins that you get from meat, all the inflammatories that come with it. No one looks at the other side. It's just protein's good, so I've got to have it. I was listening to a podcast. I can't remember what was it. Oh, it's really annoying now. I think it was a
Hmm.
Diary of a CEO podcast, and he said it was like if you go into a shop and things are labeled as healthy,
Yeah.
they're probably not, because
Yeah.
broccoli doesn't have to label itself as healthy, does it? It doesn't have to say it's
No,
good
true.
for you to buy
Yeah.
it. You just know it is. But like the
Mm.
cereal with like loads of calcium in it, high protein, it has to tell you I'm healthy, so buy me, when it's not. Like we know that
Mm.
it's not always that. So it comes down to education, but it comes down to like just, I think, self-control as well.
Yeah, I think food in its purest form is always going to be healthy, right? And I
Mm.
think when you like exactly what you said there about marketing and labeling as well, um saying things are a protein something or high in protein, it is to try and grab. I think that's a really interesting point, actually. So it's not just about grabbing the things that say protein.
No,
Yeah,
it's no, but you need to know what you're looking for, really,
you do.
and it needs to be.
Specificity within your lifestyle and your diet as well, and what your goals are as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fiber is what people need to look out for. I'm
No,
an advocate for
exactly.
fiber.
Fiber's the one where people struggle.
Exactly. Everyone's low in fiber. Everyone's low in fiber. Um, yeah. Eat more fiber if you can. If you can. Don't peel anything. Um, cool. What about fake meat? Because I know there's like obviously there's loads of meat substitutes. Do you eat them? Do you like them?
I personally, on a very rare occasion, and I think again, it's the whole thing of when things are shoved in your face. Like when I was a vegetarian and all I was given was cheese on a plate, it really irritated me. And it's like, is that all you think that we eat when we're vegetarian? We just eat cheese on a plate. And like it was just cheese, like ridiculous amounts of cheese. Sorry, I'm like twisting my leg right now.
It's so
But
angry.
cheese in a plate, and yeah, it just really annoyed me. And that, like, now it's all like, well, here's this like thing, this mock meat that looks like meat, that tastes like meat, and even bleeds like meat. And this has got packed full of protein and packed full of like synthetics and stuff like that. And I think personally, mindfully, you can have them on occasion. I wouldn't rely on them.
Mhm.
Again, I like food in its purest form. It's not to
Yeah.
say it's the only way to eat, but it's again, that's just what I do well with. I just feel so much better having, I rely on things like tofu, tempeh, seitan. Yes, they are processed, but they are not ultra processed, because the same argument always comes that, well, when people start saying about, oh, meat's healthy or meat's unhealthy or whatever, why would a plant-based burger that's absolutely ultra processed be any healthier?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not.
Just
It's
just
not.
see what I mean. It's like, I don't know. It almost feels like a contradiction, and I don't know. Again, it's all such a gray area, because I think there was something that came out maybe earlier this year about an argument about the whole ultra processed vegan options. But again, time tells with everything, right? Um we've got to look at how these things affect us long term. We don't know.
No, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, we don't know because it's been so new, isn't it? Um,
Mm,
I think it's a good like stepping stone for people that want to go vegan, but not necessarily for like the health benefits of it. If it was like a
yeah,
more like for the animals, then I think it's a good like little stepping stone, which is cool.
it's a
Um,
buy-in.
it is a buy-in. Doesn't taste exactly like meat, but it's got that
Mm,
meatiness of it. I try and stay away from it as much as I can. Obviously, there's like, I do it sometimes because
yeah,
it's quite nice. But yeah, feel much better when I don't, basically.
I love a bean burger or a veggie
I
burger, and
yeah, I like a bean burger.
I miss being able to taste like peas and potatoes in a sausage. And
Yeah.
rather now it's just like this meaty thing. Have you got any family members that are vegan or that have gone vegan?
Yeah. So my dad went vegan before me. Um,
Oh,
and I
cool.
remember getting so angry at him.
Oh man.
So why are you doing that? And I just like left and bought like cured meats and cheese and just like
Oh,
came back and ate it because I was like annoyed. So the stages of acceptance, anger. But yeah, he went vegan, then I went vegan, then my brother did, then my mum did. So we're all like all immediate family. My girlfriend's vegan. Everyone's,
amazing.
yeah, we're all vegans.
Love
So it
that.
made it quite easy, really, like to do that. Because I know a lot of people come from other families who aren't as accepting of it and just like refuse to help out or support in that way.
Mine were like that in the beginning.
Oh,
So then
really?
my dad went vegan.
Oh,
Then my
wow.
younger sister went vegan. And my mum's not quite vegan because she really likes paneer and but she has oat milk in her tea. There's small things that she's done. So like, I feel like I can go to my parents' home and then just have like a fully vegan meal. I don't have to ask questions. Like my dad loves all the processed, ultra processed burgers, but whatever makes him happy. He
Yeah,
likes it. Yeah.
exactly. Oh, that's good. That's good that it's kind of trickling out. Like you said, like the whole like drinking oat milk with a tea. It's like people know that dairy isn't good for you. People know that red meat's not good. It's just like it's just there, so people have it, and people are so used to doing it. But people know the education's out there. It's just you know you've got to do this. It's just about doing it. It's just about taking the step.
Yeah.
Um, it's easy. It really is. For me, it was anyway. It's cheaper. Lots of people
Oh,
said it's
definitely
more expensive
cheaper.
unless you do the like loads and loads of fake meat. In that case, it will be more expensive, but it is cheaper because the expensive part is the meat, isn't it? You're actually just buying veg and beans, basically.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think, I don't know in this country, maybe in this country, but I think in many countries, the meat and dairy is subsidized by taxes and stuff like that. I
yeah,
feel like there is some, I mean, I don't know really what our government puts money towards.
who does?
Politics is a whole different story and game. Yeah, who knows?
But yeah,
But yeah,
no. What would
what
you say?
about,
Oh, gone.
yeah, go on. There you go.
I was going to say, just to end it off, what would you say to anyone who's like sitting on the fence or kind of tried it before, didn't really work, like, but they want to do it. They just need to know how. What would you say to them?
For me personally, I would always look at your why. Why do you want to do it? Is
Mm,
it a health related thing, or is it an ethical, environmental thing that's motivating you? I think it's important to reach out to other people that are vegan that you like, other people that are in your network. You can either message Adam or I as well. But yeah, I think it's for me personally, it's like take your time, know your why, um, look at transitioning. Don't make it feel like it's some sort of diet that you're doing, and it's not sort of like a punishment as well. I think anything that you choose to do, it should really be seen as I get to do this. I
mm,
get to, if it's an ethical thing, I get to save one more animal's life today. Or, if it's something that you're doing for health, or it's I get to eat more of this thing, rather than looking at it as a complete, I don't know, yeah, like a punishment. How about
yeah,
you, Adam?
I really
Anything
like
that
that. I completely agree with that. And I think just adding on to that, it's like see it as an opportunity to eat more, like rather
you
than thinking, oh, I've got to cut out all of this sort of stuff. I've got to cut out the meat. I've got to cut out the cheese. Because that's what I thought when I first went. I was like, oh, it's gonna be hard cutting stuff out. But when I used to go to restaurants, I used to order the same thing every time.
mm,
And just, like my diet was very limited, and I thought it was going to be more limited, but it's changed because there were like every place has different vegan options. You've got to be more creative with what you make. It's different every time. So I've eaten so many more things that I wouldn't have eaten if I hadn't gone vegan. So I think just going in with
interesting,
that
yeah.
mindset, yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Being
It's like,
open-minded.
yeah, being open-minded of like seeing it as an opportunity to actually experience more food and eat different things that you wouldn't normally get to eat.
Yeah. And with that, I wanted to just mention as well, going to like vegan based events as well
Yeah.
is quite a cool way of increasing your like community circle as well, meeting new people, but also experiencing new foods as well. And like, yeah. Which on that note, I'm actually going to be at Veg Fest this weekend on
Oh,
Sunday.
yes.
Yes. Are you
You've
going?
reminded me. You've reminded me. I'll look into it. Sunday. Off the top of my
Sunday,
head,
Sunday.
I think
Yeah.
I think I'm free. If
Yeah,
I'm
that would be
there,
cool. That would be
yeah.
amazing. That would be so cool. So yeah, Adam and I have actually met before, so it's not just special guest. So that no, that would be really cool. And we'll have to do like a bicep pose or something. And yeah,
So much
stick it
muscle,
up. And
moving muscle.
can you add photos to the end of like YouTube's or podcasts?
Yeah,
Can you add them as
sure you can.
messages? Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah.
find out. If anyone's listening to this and works for podcasting platforms or YouTube, like I think you should be able to comment with a picture, not
Like a
just a
sticker.
GIF, right? Yeah, sticker. There you go.
Cool.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, I may see you there, and I may see anyone who's listening to this there. Hopefully, would be good. Would be
Yeah,
nice.
be really
Um,
cool.
cool. Anything else before we head off?
Ah, no, but this has been really good, and I feel like although this has been quite a short introduction, really, or conversation about veganism, um, yeah, this could go on forever, and I feel
Yeah,
like, yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely gonna speak a little bit more on this as well. I think maybe yourself as well.
absolutely. If you
Yeah,
guys are
offer
listening
some
to
more
this and you got
info.
any questions or anything that you want us to speak about, we can hop on
Yeah.
another one and answer specific questions. So yeah, hit us up on Instagram. I'm at patient_fitness_. And what's your handle, Richie?
Richu Bra, that's all one word, RICHUBRAR.
That's it. Cool. Yeah,
That's
hit us
it.
up.
That's it.
Ask any questions. DM us the word podcast if you want to have a chat. And we shall catch you on the next one. Thanks for joining in, and see you guys
Thanks for
soon.
having me.